Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and this Monday afternoon, we have a very active forecast to talk about. A lot going on for this weather week. Let's go ahead and start with that severe risk that returns for Missouri today. So we've got a severe risk this week, not once, but twice, 3 times, 3 days this week that we're watching for severe weather. That first one, while we thought we were expecting severe storms to return to Missouri tonight, we actually have a severe thunderstorm warning right now ongoing in Missouri, and we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Now that November heat wave, man, you felt that this weekend. It is continuing as we start our work week. As record-breaking temperatures continue, we'll have meteorologist Michaela Smith break down those temperatures that we saw this past weekend and a look at your weekend recap. And then we'll also talk about the stormy pattern that continues as we head into the end of the work week. So we're talking about Thursday and Friday with all hazards threat, including that flooding threat for places like Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. So comment where you're watching from today, and we'll go ahead and get right into that forecast. Let's start with Missouri. So what you see here is our significant hail model here highlighted in yellow. Basically what this means is it means areas that are favorable for larger hailstones today. So once we get into those yellows, we're talking about quarter-size hail. Oranges lean towards golf ball, maybe ping pong golf ball size hail. But what we're really watching for here, and as you see, yes, if you saw those yellows in Texas, you saw those yellows in Oklahoma, sure. But are there storms there? No, we don't see any storms down in this area. Where we see storms is in Missouri. So if we zoom into Missouri, what you can see is we've not only got that hail risk, but also that storm risk for today. We've got scattered showers and storms lining up across Missouri all the way through the afternoon hours. However, the better chance for hail will come as we head into the overnight hours tonight. I had my timeline between about midnight and 7 a.m. So it's dark. It's those nocturnal storms. We'll talk a little bit more about this in just a few minutes. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but I do want to go ahead and show you what's going on right now. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in the central eastern portion of Missouri at the moment. This is warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and quarter-size hail. Let me actually see if we can pop that up on the screen here so that you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. This includes Collin, Gerster, Vista, and Woblo. I know I'm not saying that correctly, but I do have an update on this severe thunderstorm warning. It is now officially warned for ping pong ball size hail, 1.5-inch size hailstones, and 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Again, if we zoom out here, I'm going to go back to our maps one more time because I want to show you exactly where we're watching for right here. This storm, let me get some highways on here. Highway 54, just to the north of Springfield. There's Springfield at the bottom of your screen. It's about 50 miles north of Springfield. Again, Highway 54 here. Osage Beach will be just south of this storm. Jefferson City may get this storm as it continues downstream. So again, we'll keep an eye on this storm. We'll check back in with this here in just a few minutes, but I do want to go ahead and move on with that forecast. What we'll be talking about are systems like this, very similar to today, just over and over and over this week. So we not only have that storm risk for today, but also on Thursday and Friday as well. I think we could see another chance for storms as we head into next week, Thanksgiving week. Let's talk about the right now. There's your severe thunderstorm warning in Missouri. Other than that, we're pretty dry across the U.S. Maybe a few light showers out there. Dry across the East Coast. We've got some more activity across the plains. And then a lot of activity along the West Coast, where we won't focus too much on today, but I do want to mention that they've got those flooding risks and those high wind risks out there as well. It's still warm out there. 73 in Oklahoma City right now, 82 in Dallas, holy moly, 82 in Houston as well. You can see where that high pressure system is still allowing that warm air to take hold over a good portion of the U.S. And you know that heat is one of our main factors for severe weather. So if we've got that heat, we have that moisture coming up from the Gulf as well. That will set us up for some severe weather. But we'll talk about what happened this weekend. Your 24-hour storm reports here. Not too impressive. I think we got like one wind report down near Los Angeles. Other than that, it was a pretty quiet and warm weekend. Here to talk about that warm weather is meteorologist Michaela Smith. Now, Michaela, I really enjoyed this nice weekend. I hope that a lot of other people got to enjoy the nice weather as well. We attempted to take Christmas card photos this weekend, but we felt really silly out there in our sweaters dressing like Christmas. And it was like 75 degrees. It didn't feel like November at all.
No, it didn't feel like November at all. You know, it's nice because if you want to do things outside, it's patio weather. You can grill out, you can watch games. I know here in Oklahoma, we had big games this weekend.
Yes.
A lot of people were outside, talking about how they got to watch it outside. They were on their patio, had their TVs outside. So great weather for that. But then if you're like trying to be in the holiday mood, Thanksgiving is literally next week and we're talking about like 80s. And that's not usually what you want. Maybe people do. I don't know. I like sweater weather when it's Thanksgiving, and then especially I was telling you earlier, going into December, I need it cold so I can watch my Christmas movies.
Yes.
And I'm like in the cool mindset.
Hot
chocolate. It's just not there yet.
We put up our Christmas lights this weekend, and we were grateful to do that in the nice weather. But now I'm ready to enjoy the lights with cooler weather. So I'm going to go ahead and give this over to you. Tell us what temperatures we saw this weekend.
Yes, it was definitely a very hot weekend. So you can see some of these temperatures that smashed records here. I'm going to go back to one previous slide to show you some of these record temperatures. Again, this is what Taylor was just talking about a second ago with these storm reports that we had over the weekend. So a lot of rain activity on the West Coast. Besides that, everyone was pretty dry and just toasty. Here's some of these record-breaking temperatures though. Minneapolis, Twin Cities, on Friday hit 72 degrees. Doesn't seem very warm. For them, that's some of the latest temperatures they've had in the 70s in November. They usually don't talk about 70s in November at this point. So 72 set a record high in the Twin Cities. Grand Island, Nebraska hit 85 degrees on Friday. That's another pretty hot area. You can also see down here in Oklahoma City, this is on Saturday, hit a high of 85 degrees. Tulsa was 87 on Saturday. Wichita Falls, 92 degrees. You were talking about 90s in November. This is feeling more like late summer. Then again, next week is literally Thanksgiving and we're talking about 90-degree temperatures. You can also see on Saturday, Dallas hit 89, so not quite those 90s, but still very toasty outside. And then on Sunday, we had more record-breaking temperatures. Austin was 87 degrees. Houston was 86 degrees. Brownsville, you were 91 as well on Sunday. So things got very toasty over the weekend. And it's really going to continue to stay pretty warm over the next several days. So you can see these record temperatures kind of all across the central U.S. We had temperatures breaking records from Minneapolis all the way through the Central Plains. There were other locations too that broke records. I just kind of pulled some of them to show you. And then there were a lot of places that tied records. Lubbock, Texas was at 90 degrees on Friday, so that was a tie record for them. Wichita and Kansas, they tied a record too. So it was pretty hot. So showing you just some of these records throughout the weekend. Again, on Friday, Oklahoma City hit 82. Then they were even warmer on Saturday. Wichita Falls was 92 on Saturday. Dallas was 89 on Saturday. And then Austin and Brownsville broke those records on Sunday. And I want to show you what kind of difference that is compared to average. That means on Friday when Oklahoma City broke their record, they were 13 degrees warmer. Saturday, you can see in Dallas and in Wichita Falls, 17 degrees warmer in Wichita Falls, and they were in the 90s. And then you can see Austin and Brownsville about 10 to 12 degrees warmer than average. And that's going to continue today as well. You can see this warm up that we're talking about. This is your Monday. Areas that are highlighted more here in red. That's talking about that 10 to maybe 20 degree temperature departure from normal. So here again, Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, Dallas, a lot of areas potentially could see some record-breaking temperatures for this afternoon. Then that starts to shift a little bit too as you go further into your Tuesday and your Wednesday and things like that. So we're talking about, Taylor, record-breaking temperatures possible today, tomorrow, Wednesday, even Thursday. Areas like Florida, they stay pretty warm kind of throughout the year. But I saw some things about like upper 80s, maybe 90s.
Holy moly. Talk about a weather whiplash, because they saw those temperatures in the 50s and 60s, and that's not normal for them, maybe even colder for some of them, where they had some of those freeze watches. Just about a week or two ago, they were talking about falling iguanas, which is something that we see whenever it gets too cold. Those iguanas go into kind of a sort of short hibernation. Yeah. And now they're back into the warm temperatures.
And the Twin Cities too. I mean, like Monday last week, literally a week ago, we were talking about the snow for like Chicago area. They had really cold temperatures too. It was in like the 20s and teens. And then by Friday, they were like, oh, 70s, which again, it doesn't seem like bad to a lot of people, but like up there, that's hot.
That's very warm for them. So what we're saying is obviously no snow out there right now. However, we do have a chance for severe weather. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about
I'll let you break that down.
chances for severe weather. So you can see behind me, that low pressure system is definitely something that we're watching for here. We've actually got two areas that we're watching. Now, this first one that you probably turn your eye to first, now that will come later on this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this is our weather maker right here. In the middle of the U.S., that's what we're more concerned with today. Now, it's a low pressure system. It's not very strong. It's actually on the weakening trend at the moment. But what it's doing is it's taking this warm air that Michaela was talking about. It's taking all of this moisture that's coming up from the Gulf, and it's going to interact with this low pressure system. That's going to give it its lift, its power, that oomph that will cause a severe storm, or those stronger storms that could go severe. Especially with those cooler air, the cooler temperatures that are coming down from the north as well. That's going to help for that hail formation as well. So let's go ahead, let's go through this synoptic. We call this a synoptic view, but really what you're looking at is a wide view of what's going to happen over the next few days. As we head into Tuesday, we're drier. We've got that high pressure system working its way back in. Dry and sunny for most. But wait until this low pressure system starts to take hold on our weather late Wednesday. Not necessarily during the day on Wednesday, but we're talking about late Wednesday and into early Thursday. That's whenever we finally start to see some activity through the central portion of the plains. Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, all in the path for the potential severe weather, not only Thursday, but also Friday. But again, as it moves into the central portion of the U.S., it starts to weaken. So we're a little unsure. There's a lot that's unknown about the severe risk by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. What we do know is we don't stop there. We have another chance for severe weather coming from this low pressure system as we head into early next week. So this is your Thanksgiving week. This is your holiday week. This could be a problem for a few people, or a lot of people, as we head into the very beginning of next week. So we're talking about November 24th at this time. A lot of people are working on those travel plans. You need to be watching this system for your travel plans, okay? This low pressure system looks a lot stronger than the one that we saw today and the one that we're seeing by the middle of this week. This looks a lot more impressive. This setup right here is classic for severe weather. So keep an eye on Monday and Tuesday. That's as far out as my map goes, so let's return to today. I'm gonna go ahead and check with the SPC. We've seen some things change. So I'm going to read you what the Storm Prediction Center has said about this outlook that you see right here. Okay, so for today, we have a level 1, a marginal risk for storms that I'm actually going to rewind this graphic and zoom into right now. So your level 1 marginal risk for storms highlights St. Louis, Springfield, and honestly, I may stretch this all the way down to Miami, Oklahoma, down in the northeastern side of Oklahoma. By Tuesday, we have a brand new marginal risk that has also been issued for just to the east of Missouri. We're talking about southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and Kentucky. Another marginal risk, a level 1, and this is what I want to see. Consult with the Storm Prediction Center, because I would say this is also a hail risk. Okay, I'm correct on that. But one big update here. The Storm Prediction Center has also highlighted this area for potential tornadoes as well. So it's an all hazards risk on Tuesday. We've got that tornado, high wind, and hail threat for portions of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky, and northern Tennessee. By Wednesday, and Bextent Pro, yeah, you're not in that risk on Tuesday. You're just outside of the risk. However, things could change. This is a developing system that we're not quite sure of the strength of it right now. Just being honest with you here. I'm not going to try to hype up this storm, and I'm also not going to try to move past it, because I think a lot of people did not take this seriously. And we told you a week ago to keep an eye on Monday and Tuesday, and that's exactly what's happening right now, is that we're taking this a little bit more seriously by putting that marginal risk for today and a marginal risk for tomorrow. Feels like a low risk, but hey, it only takes one storm, so things could change. If this goes 20 miles to the south, it may include Nashville, Tennessee. Right now, you're not included in that risk. By Wednesday, we don't have a risk yet. I think that we will not have a risk for severe storms on Wednesday. However, by Thursday morning, we're going to see a lot more active weather. I showed this to you earlier, but if you were late to join the forecast, I want to show you that one more time. I'm actually going to start this over. What you're looking at right here is your significant hail model. What this shows you is that those areas highlighted there in yellow is the potential for larger hail today. But what I like to say oftentimes is even though you have the potential for large hail, you need a storm to create that hail, right? And we don't have any storms down in eastern Texas today, no storms down in eastern Oklahoma either. Where do we see those storms? In Missouri. So your larger hailstones and your storms come in later on tonight in Missouri. Now, could you get a few storms before that create those large hailstones? Yeah, but it's a low chance. We've got those lighter white colors in here that signify small hail. Better chances late tonight. What are we talking about here? 11 o'clock tonight, you're going to see two areas for storms, one in the northern portion of the state and one in the southwestern portion of the state. Now, this will continue as we head into the overnight hours, 2, 3, 4 o'clock Tuesday morning. You're going to see these storms continue to track to the east and into eastern Missouri, into places like St. Louis by the early morning hours. So keep an eye on the radar as you wake up early tomorrow morning, or maybe even set your alarm a little bit earlier than normal, just in case you've got hail outside of your window. Give yourself a little extra time for that morning commute. Taking a look at St. Louis, Rolla, I think is how you pronounce that, Springfield and Miami, Oklahoma. While we're very confident that we will most likely get hail from one of these storms, it's very isolated. It'll be about one storm, maybe two storms for that hail risk here. I mean, we don't have a lot of storms. You just saw the radar. We don't have a lot of storms. So I kept this at a low chance to actually get a storm because the likelihood of that one storm going straight through one of these cities is pretty low. However, I do expect to get at least $50, if not up to ping pong ball size hail for these storms overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. So I went ahead, where's my ping pong? There it is. I went ahead and put your max forecasted hail size as ping pong ball size hail. There's your forecast for today. Before we move on to tomorrow, do we have any weather questions? Thank you for commenting where you're watching from. We've got Nashville, Tennessee on here right now. I'm sure we have people watching from Missouri as well. Ooh, look at that spin. There's your low pressure system right there. Did you see that spin from these storms as it spins around that low pressure system? You can see that that spin actually starts to weaken as we head into the overnight hours tonight and into early tomorrow morning. That's what I was talking about earlier, is that we're on a weakening trend for this low pressure system. There's those storms that are moving into places like Kentucky and Tennessee by early tomorrow morning and into the afternoon hours. Let's play this one more time through. We've got a line of storms moving through right now in Missouri. This is round one, continuing through your evening commute, but then returning by your morning commute for places like St. Louis, as we have another chance for storms overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Really watching for this one right here. Now, this is the HER model. The NAM also had another storm up to the north. Not as impressed with this one up to the north, much more impressed with this storm system that's down in places like south of Springfield, Crocker, Farmington, and maybe even into St. Louis. Moving on here, we've got another chance for storms as we head into the middle of the week. So by Wednesday night and into early Thursday morning, we're focusing now on places like Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Missouri. All of those areas that are highlighted in green. This will be your next chance for an all-hazard storm system. We're talking about the potential for tornadoes, high wind, hail, and that flooding risk. You're going to have multiple rounds of rain, causing heavy downpours across the central and southern portion of the plains, and that's going to intensify the flooding risk. We're at a level 2 right now, but I do expect it to get upgraded to a level 3 flood risk Thursday and Friday. This will continue to track to the east, potentially causing some severe weather issues across places like Kentucky, Tennessee, and our southeastern portion of the U.S. as we head into the later portion of the week. We're talking about Friday and Saturday at this point. And then we'll start that all back over again as this low pressure system that's out on the west coast by this weekend continues to move into the central portion of the U.S. by early next week. And it's kind of a rinse and repeat. And we have another chance for severe weather early next week. So we're definitely in this active pattern, and we don't have a ton of details other than what's expected to happen today and tomorrow. But we'll get those details as we get closer to those systems moving in. Thursday and Friday will be that next chance for severe weather. We've got lots of rain going on right now across the West Coast in California. Man, they've gotten a lot of rain. They had a lot of rain this weekend. That's ongoing. They're finally going to get a break by Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's whenever our concern shifts across places like Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. There's your level 2 risk that I mentioned earlier. However, I do expect that to get upgraded to a level 3 as we get closer to this system and know a little bit more about it by the end of this week. There's your rainfall totals. Not too impressive. For places like Central Plains, like we're used to 1, 2, 3 inches of rain. That's not going to do too much for our flooding potential. However, you get that out in the desert, and that is absolutely going to flood something. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at those rain chances. As I mentioned, it's raining a lot out on the West Coast right now, but we're focusing more on central portion of the U.S. as we head into the middle of the week. Here's a look at your day-by-day breakdown. Thursday, that seems to be the big heavy downpour day for places like Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. That will shift to the east as we head into the end of the work week. And there's your forecast. We'll move into temperatures now. Do we have any weather questions yet? Kansas City. We need some storm dates for Kansas City, Missouri. Are you saying... Oh, we need some more storm dates for Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City misses out on the storm risk today. It's more of a St. Louis risk today. It's going to be to the south of you guys, so if you travel, here I'll show it to you. It's going to be to the south of Kansas City. Pretty far south, too. You could go down to Springfield. And then taking a look at Thursday, is Kansas in the severe risk for Thursday? I don't think so, or Kansas City. Now, Kansas may be in the storm risk for Thursday, but probably not Kansas City. Let's go ahead and look at that here. This graphic is loading, give it just a minute. All right, so Wednesday during the day, it's mostly dry. However, things change later in the day on Wednesday and into early Thursday. Here you go, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock, it's raining, it's pouring as you wake up on Thursday morning. That continues throughout the rest of the day on Thursday. Lots of moisture with this system. We've got all of that moisture that's coming up from the Gulf. So what we're seeing right now is our dew points are increasing thanks to the moisture down in the Gulf. And that's really just sitting right across the southern plains and the southeastern portion of the U.S. where your dew points are rising. That's great because maybe your knuckles aren't so dry. I was definitely getting chapped lips last week. I think that moisture, that dew point increase is absolutely helping out with that. But then, of course, that's going to increase our storm risk as well. KC, it really looks like you miss out on a lot of this rain, which includes the storm risk as well as we head into the end of this week. And it's too soon to tell about the very beginning of next week. My radar here only goes out until Sunday, but we do have another risk for storms by Monday and Tuesday of next week, so 7 days from now. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Any other weather questions before we move on? I think we got them all. MJ says, good afternoon, HailTrace and the chat folks. Yeah, we appreciate everyone who's showing up in chat today. We've got a lot of questions. So we go live between Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So I can see the questions on all of those sites. So you may be only able to see them on Facebook or maybe only on YouTube, but we can see them on all platforms. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to your temperatures. Is it going to stay warm like this the entire November? I heard Michaela earlier say 90s in November. That's an alliteration that is very, very rare to hear in a weather forecast. 90s in November. It will continue as we head into the middle of this week, but finally by the end of this week, we're going to see some cooler temperatures move in. So by Friday, it may have that more fall-like feel. Ooh, 80s today in Oklahoma City. We've got some upper 80s in Dallas. We could see record-breaking temperatures once again today across the central and southern portion of the U.S. We're seeing those 70s, 80s, and maybe even 90s all across several of our most southernmost states. This will obviously continue as we head into the middle of the week, but finally we'll start to cool down by the end of the week, and then we'll kind of do this roller coaster of temperatures as we head into the weekend, and then we'll go back up as storms come back in. That'll help for your severe storm risk early next week. and then you'll see temperatures go back down for Thanksgiving, and it'll kind of just be this roller coaster all the way through November. But overall, we are expected to stay above average. So more likely to have warm days than cold days as we head into the middle of November. This includes, look at that date, the 22nd through the 26th. This includes Thanksgiving. We also have a really good chance for our rainfall totals to be above average, so we're expecting to be wetter than normal as we head into the end of this month as well.
Thanksgiving is the 27th.
Oh, the 27th. I just missed it. Okay, so leading up to Thanksgiving. Leading up to Thanksgiving, it looks like temperatures will be above average and more rainfall than normal. Thank you, Michaela. That's why we have 2 meteorologists now, to make sure that we are the most accurate. You guys are double checking me. It says for Kansas City, we're always right on the edge, or storms develop after it passes us, after it passes Kansas City. Knew we would miss out today, but we'll probably jump on anything that's around us. Thank you for the updates. Yeah, hey, 2 Spoons, who's commenting this right now, there was, and looks like still is, a severe thunderstorm warning down in Wheatland. I know there's not a lot of people down in this area. It was earlier warned for ping pong ball size hail. It looks like that has now decreased to quarter size hail. So we have already seen storms there today. One thing that we like to say as meteorologists is we like to say the trend is your friend. So basically what this tells me is if we have really impressive storms right now, let's go up there, there you go. That tells me that we have a really good chance for impressive storms later on tonight as well. Let the atmosphere recover. Those better lapse rates are going to come in. That's going to help out for that hail size. So basically high lapse rates keeps that hailstone up in that storm for a longer period of time, which allows it to grow. And so that'll help to produce those larger hailstones. That looks a lot more impressive overnight tonight. And so what we're saying right now is that temperatures, one more time. What we're saying right now is that since this storm is so impressive right now, it could lead to impressive storms later on tonight as well. So right now, as John was showing in the bottom of your screen, you probably saw that down there, the trend is your friend. So if we're trending to see overperforming storms right now, we could probably see that tonight as well. Again, timeline for storms in Missouri tonight, I would say about midnight to 7 a.m., getting into places like St. Louis between about 6 to 8 a.m., so right during that morning commute. There you go, there's your forecast. There's your weather update. DM or comment on this video for your weather questions. We're pretty good about replying to those either in real time or going back later and replying to them in the comments section. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure that you follow us on all other forms of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com for a weather map. Don't wait for storms to hit. Make sure that you're prepared so that when those storms hit, you have those maps to help you out and find where the largest hailstone could have fallen in your area. So 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Head over to our website, hailtrace.com, for more information. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.